Have you ever wondered what it feels like to marry the most beautiful girl in the world, only to later realize you were walking straight into a trap? Stay with me until the end of this story, because what you are about to hear will shock you to your core. And before we dive in, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to The Twisted Minds for more chilling stories that reveal the darkest corners of human nature. It all began with Adam, a 29-year-old man who had lived an ordinary life in a small but thriving city. He was the kind of person who worked hard, loved his family, and dreamed of building a future with someone who truly loved him. Adam was never one to chase superficial beauty. He always believed that a good heart mattered more than a pretty face. But sometimes, fate plays tricks on us. Sometimes the very thing we think is a blessing is, in fact, the beginning of a nightmare. One evening, while attending a friend's wedding, Adam saw her, Sophia. She was unlike anyone he had ever met before. Tall, elegant, and breathtakingly beautiful. She seemed to shine in every corner of the room. Her smile had an almost hypnotic effect, pulling people toward her as if she carried an invisible magnet. Every guest seemed to notice her, but it was Adam who caught her attention. When their eyes met across the room, it felt like something out of a fairy tale, a moment that seemed too perfect to be real. Sophia approached Adam with grace, her soft voice melting into his heart like warm honey. They spoke for hours, laughing as if they had known each other for years. Adam couldn't believe his luck. Here was a woman who seemed perfect in every way, intelligent, charming, and drop-dead gorgeous. Within weeks, they were inseparable. Adam's friends teased him, saying he had won the lottery of love. His family welcomed Sophia with open arms, believing she was everything a man could ever ask for in a partner. But here's the thing about perfection. It's often just a mask that hides secrets no one dares to imagine. From the start, there were small red flags. Sophia was always evasive about her past. Whenever Adam asked about her family, she would change the subject or say they were far away and not part of her life anymore. She never allowed him to meet her friends, claiming she preferred to keep her personal and social life separate. But Adam, blinded by love and enchanted by her beauty, ignored those signs. Love makes us overlook things we normally wouldn't, and Adam was already too deep in her spell. 6 months later, Adam proposed. It was a grand moment. Roses, candles, a ring that sparkled as brightly as her eyes. Sophia said yes, tears streaming down her face. To Adam, it was the happiest day of his life. To Sophia, it was just another step in a plan she had carefully crafted. A plan Adam couldn't even begin to imagine. Their wedding was a spectacle. Sophia looked like a vision in white, every guest marveling at her beauty. Adam's heart was bursting with joy as he vowed to love her forever, believing he had finally found his soulmate. People clapped, cheered, and toasted to the happy couple. On that day, Adam thought he was the luckiest man alive, but he had no idea that his dream was about to turn into a nightmare. Behind Sophia's angelic smile was a darkness Adam could never have predicted. She wasn't just marrying him for love. She wasn't marrying him for companionship. She was marrying him because he was her target, a man with a good reputation, a steady income, and a vulnerable heart that was easy to manipulate. For Sophia, Adam was nothing more than a means to an end, and once she had what she wanted, she wouldn't hesitate to destroy him. The trap had been set the moment she walked into his life. And Adam, without knowing it, had walked right into it. But what was her plan? What did Sophia truly want? And how far would she go to get it? The answers, as you'll see in the chapters ahead, are far more disturbing than you could ever imagine. This is not just a love story gone wrong. This is a chilling reminder of how appearances can deceive us, and how love, when twisted by greed and malice, can become deadly. Stay with me as we unfold this terrifying journey. And once again, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to The Twisted Minds and hit the like button, because stories like this deserve to be heard. This was just the beginning. The first few months of Adam and Sophia's marriage were like something out of a dream. They traveled to beaches, dined in fancy restaurants, and posted smiling pictures on social media that made their friends jealous. Adam would often look at her across the dinner table, her perfect face glowing in the soft light, and wonder how he had gotten so lucky. To him, Sophia was the definition of beauty and grace. But little did he know, every smile she gave him, every kiss she planted on his cheek was carefully calculated. Behind those loving gestures, Sophia was always watching, observing, studying Adam's habits. She learned how much he earned, where he kept his documents, and even the passwords he used most often. She wasn't just being a loving wife. She was collecting information like a predator studying its prey. It began subtly. Sophia insisted on managing the household finances, claiming she wanted to help Adam relax after work. At first, Adam was touched. "You do enough already," he told her, but Sophia would just smile and say, "Let me take care of you." Before long, she had access to his bank accounts, his credit cards, even his investment plans. Adam never questioned her. After all, wasn't this what love and trust were about? Then came the mood swings. Some nights, Sophia would shower him with love, cooking his favorite meals, laughing at his jokes, and making him feel like the most important man in the world. But other nights, she would turn cold, distant, even cruel. She'd criticize him for small mistakes, accuse him of not appreciating her, and sometimes refuse to speak to him for hours. Adam found himself walking on eggshells, desperate to keep her happy. He told himself it was just stress, that all marriages had ups and downs. But deep inside, a quiet voice whispered that something wasn't right. That voice grew louder when Sophia started disappearing without explanation. She would leave the house dressed elegantly, saying she was meeting a friend, but she would return late at night with no details of where she had been. If Adam asked, she would snap, "Why don't you trust me?" And to avoid a fight, he would back down. Love makes us blind. It makes us silence our instincts, even when they scream at us to pay attention. One evening, Adam's childhood friend, Daniel, came over. Daniel was the kind of person who could read people easily, and from the moment he met Sophia, something about her unsettled him. Later, when Sophia left the room, Daniel leaned toward Adam and whispered, "Be careful, man. She's too perfect. Something feels off." Adam laughed it off. "You're just jealous," he teased. But deep down, he felt a sting of doubt. The cracks in the fairy tale widened when Adam noticed money missing from his savings account. Thousands of dollars were gone. When he confronted Sophia, she broke into tears. She claimed her mother had fallen ill, and she hadn't known how to tell him. "I just didn't want to worry you," she sobbed, clutching his arm. Adam's heart melted. He held her, promising her that she never had to hide anything from him. He transferred even more money to her, assuring her that family always comes first. But here's the truth: Sophia had lied. There was no sick mother. In fact, Adam had no idea that Sophia's family was nowhere near as distant as she made it seem. Somewhere out there, a group of people knew exactly what Sophia was doing, and they were counting on her to succeed. As weeks turned into months, Adam's once stable life began to unravel. His debts grew, his friends drifted away because of Sophia's hostility, and his once bright smile faded into exhaustion. Still, he clung to the hope that love would fix everything. He told himself that marriage was about sacrifice, about patience. But Sophia was only getting started. She wasn't just after Adam's money. She wanted total control. And soon, she would make a move that would turn his life upside down completely. What Adam didn't know was that Sophia's entire relationship with him had been part of a larger trap, one that involved lies, betrayal, and secrets darker than anything he could have imagined. He thought he had married the woman of his dreams. In reality, he had married his worst nightmare, and soon, that nightmare would come crashing down with a force he could never escape. By the time their first wedding anniversary approached, Adam's world looked perfect from the outside. He had a beautiful wife, a nice home, and photos that made their lives appear enviable. But behind closed doors, that picture was falling apart piece by piece. Sophia's hold on Adam was growing stronger with each passing day. She controlled their finances, dictated who he could spend time with, and even monitored his phone calls. At first, Adam thought her jealousy was a sign of love. After all, she wanted his attention all to herself. But soon it became suffocating. If Adam came home late from work, she would interrogate him, demanding to know where he had been. If he spoke kindly to a female colleague, Sophia would accuse him of cheating. Adam felt trapped in his own marriage, but every time he considered confronting her, she would shift the blame, turning his doubts into guilt. One night, while Adam slept, Sophia quietly unlocked his phone. She scrolled through his messages, his emails, even his work documents. When she discovered a modest inheritance Adam had recently received after his grandmother's passing, her eyes lit up. To Adam, that money was sentimental, a reminder of the woman who had raised him. To Sophia, it was nothing but another prize to claim. The very next morning, Sophia cooked Adam a lavish breakfast, something she hadn't done in months. She kissed his forehead, told him how much she loved him, and reminded him how lucky they were. For a moment, Adam felt hope spark again. Maybe things were changing. Maybe she was truly trying. What he didn't realize was that Sophia's sudden kindness was just another move in her carefully planned game. Her true nature revealed itself one evening when Adam came home early. He expected to find her relaxing or cooking dinner. Instead, he found her whispering on the phone in the kitchen, her tone sharp and urgent. When she noticed him, she hung up immediately. Adam asked who she had been speaking to. Sophia smiled sweetly and said, "Just a friend." But her eyes betrayed her. Something about that moment chilled Adam to his core. Days later, Adam's friend Daniel once again tried to intervene. "Adam, listen to me," Daniel said firmly. "I've been looking into her. There are things you don't know." But Adam, worn down by Sophia's emotional grip, brushed him off. "You're imagining things," he said, though his voice lacked conviction. The truth was, he was afraid of what he might find if he started asking questions. Then the lies started piling up too quickly to ignore. Adam received a call from his bank about unusual transactions, large amounts of money being transferred to an unknown account. When he confronted Sophia, she broke down dramatically, insisting she had been helping a relative in desperate need. Once again, she played the role of the helpless, misunderstood wife, and once again, Adam caved. He wanted to believe her. He needed to believe her because the alternative, that he had married a fraud, was too painful to face. But reality has a way of forcing its way in. A week later, Adam received an anonymous email. The message was simple. "Your wife is not who she says she is. She's setting you up. Leave before it's too late." Attached to the email were photographs, grainy but unmistakable. Sophia was meeting with a group of men in a dark cafe, passing them what looked like papers and envelopes. Adam's heart sank as he recognized his own handwriting on one of the papers. They were his financial documents. Shaken to the core, Adam confronted Sophia that night. At first, she denied everything, accusing him of being paranoid. But when he showed her the photographs, her expression changed. The sweetness melted away, replaced by a cold, calculated stare. For the first time, Adam saw her without the mask. "You should have never snooped around," she said quietly, her voice sharp like glass. "You don't know what you've gotten yourself into." Adam's hands trembled. "What are you talking about?" he whispered. Sophia leaned in close, her lips curling into a sinister smile. "You'll find out soon enough." That was the moment Adam realized his life was no longer his own. He wasn't just married to a manipulative woman, he was married to someone who had planned every step of his downfall. And now, the trap had closed around him completely. What Adam didn't yet know was that Sophia wasn't acting alone. There was an entire network standing behind her, people who had been waiting patiently for the right moment to strike. And Adam, blinded by love and loyalty, had given them everything they needed. The question wasn't whether Sophia would betray him. The question was how far she, and the people she was working with, were willing to go. And as Adam would soon discover, their plans for him didn't just involve money. They involved something far darker. The night after Sophia's mask slipped, Adam couldn't sleep. He lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling, his chest tightening with fear. Next to him, Sophia slept soundly, her face serene and angelic, as though she hadn't just revealed the truth behind her lies. Adam felt trapped between disbelief and terror. How could the woman he married, the woman he loved, be capable of such coldness? The next morning, Sophia acted as if nothing had happened. She greeted him with a kiss, brewed coffee, and hummed softly while preparing breakfast. For a moment, Adam wondered if he had imagined the entire encounter. But the photographs in his inbox said otherwise. The unease in his stomach told him otherwise. Over the following days, Sophia's behavior became more unpredictable. Sometimes she was affectionate, showering Adam with attention. Other times, she snapped at him, her eyes flashing with an anger he couldn't understand. The more Adam watched her, the more he realized she was hiding something, and the more determined he became to uncover the truth. One evening, Adam decided to follow her. Sophia claimed she was meeting a friend for dinner, but Adam trailed her car discreetly, his heart pounding. She drove across town to a shabby warehouse on the edge of the city. From a distance, Adam saw her get out and meet 3 men by the entrance. One of them handed her a thick envelope, and she handed something back in return. Adam strained his eyes. It was a folder. His folder. The one where he kept copies of his financial records. A chill ran down his spine. This wasn't just betrayal. This was something far bigger. Adam backed away before anyone noticed him, driving home with shaking hands. He tried to piece it together. Was Sophia working with criminals? Was she part of some organized scam? Questions swirled in his mind, but one thing was clear: he was in serious danger. That night, when Sophia returned, Adam confronted her again. "I know what you're doing," he said, his voice firm but trembling. "I saw you. The warehouse, the men, the folder." For a split second, Sophia froze. Then she laughed. Not the soft, charming laugh he had fallen for, but a cold, mocking laugh that sent shivers down his spine. "You really think you're in control here?" she asked, her voice low and steady. "Adam, you're nothing but a pawn. From the moment we met, you were marked. And now, it's too late." Adam's throat went dry. "Why? Why me?" "Because you were easy," she said bluntly. "Good job. Good savings. No one suspicious. And stupid enough to believe in fairy tales." Her words cut through him like knives. The woman he had adored, the woman he had given his heart and soul to, was looking at him now with nothing but contempt. Before Adam could respond, Sophia pulled out her phone and dialed a number. "He knows," she said calmly. "Well, move faster." Then she hung up and stared at him. "If you're smart, you'll stay quiet. Otherwise, you won't like what happens next." Adam's blood ran cold. He realized this wasn't just about money. Whoever Sophia was working with had much bigger plans, and now his life was in their hands. Over the next week, Adam's world unraveled completely. Strange cars parked outside his house. He received threatening calls in the middle of the night, silent but menacing. His bank accounts were nearly drained, and when he tried to report the fraud, he discovered his own name had been linked to suspicious transactions. Someone, Sophia and her accomplices, was framing him. One evening, Daniel showed up at Adam's house, frantic.
"I told you, Adam! She's dangerous!"
"Look at this." He pulled out a folder of documents he had dug up. They revealed that Sophia had been married before, twice. Both husbands had mysteriously lost everything. One had even disappeared, never to be found. Adam felt the floor fall out from under him. Sophia wasn't just a manipulator. She was a predator who had done this before. And if he didn't act fast, he could be next. That night, Adam packed a small bag. He knew he had to get out, but before he could leave, Sophia caught him. She stood at the door, blocking his way, her expression dark and deadly. "Going somewhere?" she asked softly, but her tone was icy. Adam's heart pounded in his chest. He realized in that moment that he wasn't just fighting for his freedom. He was fighting for his life. And Sophia, beautiful, cunning Sophia, was ready to do whatever it took to make sure he never escaped. The trap was no longer just about money. It was about power, control, and survival. And for Adam, time was running out. Adam's heart raced as he stood frozen in the doorway, Sophia blocking his path like a predator cornering its prey. Her beauty, once intoxicating, now seemed like a mask stretched over something monstrous. For the first time, Adam realized he wasn't just dealing with betrayal. He was staring into the face of pure evil. "Sit down," Sophia ordered, her voice steady, almost casual. We need to talk. Adam hesitated, but her eyes left him no choice. He sat at the kitchen table, his bag still half zipped beside him. Sophia poured herself a glass of wine, swilling it slowly before speaking again. You think you can just walk away? She said, smirking. No, Adam. You're part of this now. And whether you like it or not, your name, your money, your reputation, it's all ours. Ours? Adam asked, his voice shaking. Yes, she whispered. The people you saw at the warehouse. They don't forgive. They don't forget. And they certainly don't let anyone walk away once they're in. She leaned closer, her perfume sweet but suffocating. You belong to us now. Adam's stomach churned. He knew he couldn't let her win. If he stayed silent, he'd lose everything. If he resisted, he might lose his life. Either way, time was slipping through his fingers. That night, Adam secretly contacted Daniel, whispering into his phone in the bathroom. He begged his friend for help. I can't do this alone. She's dangerous. They're all dangerous. Daniel didn't hesitate. I'll come over tomorrow. We'll figure this out. But tomorrow almost didn't come. The next morning, Adam woke to the sound of heavy footsteps outside. Through the blinds, he saw two unfamiliar men pacing near his driveway. Panic surged through him. Sophia was in the shower, humming softly as if nothing was wrong. Adam knew he had minutes, maybe seconds, to act. He grabbed his bag, stuffed in whatever documents he could find, and slipped out the back door. His heart pounded as he sprinted down the alley, every shadow looking like it might swallow him whole. He made it to a nearby cafe, where Daniel was waiting in his car. Get in, Daniel shouted. They drove off, leaving Sophia and her accomplices behind. For the first time in months, Adam felt a flicker of hope. But Sophia wasn't done with him. Within hours, Adam's phone buzzed with a message. It was a photo. Daniel's car parked outside the cafe. The caption read, "You can run, but you can't hide." A fear tightened its grip on Adam. These people weren't going to stop. They had resources, connections, and a woman who knew him better than he knew himself. Daniel insisted they go to the police. At first, Adam resisted. How could he prove anything? He had no evidence that would hold up in court, only photographs and suspicions. But when Daniel showed him the documents about Sophia's past husbands again, Adam realized this was bigger than him. If he didn't speak up, Sophia would just find another victim. At the police station, Adam told everything, the lies, the financial fraud, the threats. The officers listened carefully, their faces grim. One of them finally said, "You did the right thing. You're not the first to come forward about her." Adam's blood ran cold. Not the first. The investigation moved quickly. With Daniel's help, the police gathered proof of Sophia's transactions, her connections to the criminal network, and her history of conning men before Adam. One by one, her allies were tracked and arrested. Finally, Sophia herself was caught trying to flee the country with a suitcase full of cash. When Adam saw her in court, dressed in plain prison clothes, her beauty stripped away, he felt a strange mix of emotions. Anger, relief, grief for the life he thought he had. Sophia stared at him across the courtroom, her eyes still cold, still defiant. "You'll never be free," she mouthed silently, a twisted smile curling her lips. But Adam was free, broken, yes. Scarred, absolutely, but free. Months later, as he walked alone along the beach, Adam thought about how love had blinded him, how he had ignored the red flags, silenced his instincts, and trusted someone who never deserved it. He realized the most dangerous traps are not the ones we see, but the ones disguised as everything we ever dreamed of. And as he watched the waves crash against the shore, he whispered to himself, "Never again." Because sometimes the most beautiful face hides the darkest soul, and sometimes the greatest danger comes dressed as love. So remember, trust is a gift. Give it wisely. And if you found this story chilling, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to The Twisted Minds for more true crime stories that expose the dangers hiding in plain sight. Because as Adam learned the hard way, even the most beautiful love story can be nothing more than a trap.